let's talk about the new wave of blackwashing characters. I know a lot of people say that it's not blackwashing or it's not racist to change a white character to black because of all the history stuff back in the day. But let's remember what the times were back in the day. And let's be better when it comes to this kind of stuff. Two wrongs don't make a right. And that's just real talk. I'm tired of black people, minority people being used as some kind of token thing, like as if some kind of like trophy, like, oh, look how cool we are by race swapping characters because it's fun. Isn't it fun? No, it's not fun. It's an insult, and it shows how lazy you are as a person or a creator when you have to race change a character instead of actually coming up with something new and innovative when it comes to this comic book, movies, video games, anything. Like, what is the whole point? People have to understand the brain works on sight and stimuli, right? The simulation of your brain shows you that certain things don't either belong or work together because of the neurons in your brain. So, for instance, if my mom, the first time I seen her, is black, right? And then years later, she just magically became white, my brain is going to have issues with that, problems with that. Oh, she's the same person, she's just a different skin color. But why? And if your only answer is just because or because we wanted to try something new, that's dumb. You know, I know that kind of sounds like a terrible example, but you have to really look at it like that. In real life, if somebody took your friend, relative, or whoever and just swapped their race or gender or changed their sexuality up on you just because we need to see more diversity or your pool of friends need to be more diverse, wouldn't you feel some kind of way? Now, if you say yes, that's good because you should feel the same way when they do that to these characters. You can't keep agreeing with the unnecessary race changes for characters. It doesn't work like that. My thing is, I'm all for diversity or whatever, but there's too many original diverse characters, especially when it comes to black characters that are out there that aren't used. That's the thing that kills me the most, is that the fact that there are way too many original black characters for comic books, video games, music, all of that kind of stuff in general. Even anime has black characters, and they do it better than America. Ain't that something? The country that talks in another language and does a lot of cartoons or whatever can do black people better than America can. Because you know why? Because they respect those characters. They treat them like characters first, race later. And that's what we're not doing anymore. We're hiring these people race first, then character second. How many times we gonna see a black person like, oh, look what I'm cast as, but then they put up a white picture of the person that they're supposed to be playing? Come on now, that don't make no sense. What kind of logic is that? What kind of message is that? And everybody was like, oh, I can finally see myself on the big screen or whatever. Are you kidding me? Because I'm sorry, I grew up in the 90s. There were too much black stuff around for me to even feel that kind of way because it was just there. So I'm confused where we got to the 2010s and now all of a sudden people saying that there wasn't these characters out here or whatever. And I'm just like, what world were you guys living under? Like, because you had to be living on a rock because there was too much black entertainment out there. Like, I just don't understand what's going on with the world and the nonsense. You know, for the past couple of years, it's just been one black wash after another. Once again, You take one character, you change it one time, then you start off with one, you do three, then you start off with three, you do five, then you do 10. When is enough going to be enough? Like, for instance, that terrible Captain Marvel movie. Everybody always want to talk about, oh, men hate women and there's not any women comic book characters or whatever, blah, 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 blah. But they chose the seventh Captain Marvel out of all the Captain Marvels that they could have chose, and they so wanted a woman. Okay, so what about Monica Rambeau? I mean, I'm just saying, she was a black woman. She was not only a black woman, she was the first woman to hold the title of Captain Marvel in the Marvel Universe. And she was also the first black person to lead the Avengers. I'm just saying, I'm kind of confused on how you're talking about, oh, we need diversity, but then you completely skip all the diverse characters. What's going on? I'm lost on that. Like, now you got the Justice Society of America. Really? We're changing Hawkman because of his Egyptian heritage? Because he was reincarnated? Like, come on, that don't make no sense. Not when there are too many black characters on the Justice Society of America side. Like, I'm not even, you know, joking. There were characters that you could have chose from. So it's not like you couldn't have chosen those characters. And on top of that, you have to remember, this is a team that debuted during the wars. Like, I'm sorry to tell you this, history wasn't all that kind to black people and diverse people. So why in the hell do you think it'll be an appropriate time to change the characters? There's a reason why some of them were masked back in the day. I'm just being honest. You know, why change these characters to please people who don't even care about them? Now all of a sudden, Hawkman is being casted black. Now all these people coming out the woodworks who don't even read Hawkman trying to tell people like me who read Hawkman, oh, he was an Egyptian prince back in one of his reincarnated lives. Look, just because you watch Justice League Unlimited, that was written by Wayne McDuffie, who was a black man who actually understood the DC characters and treated them like they were characters and humans first before race, doesn't mean you can sit up here and try to tell me that nonsense. That's not how that works. His Hawkman persona didn't happen until he joined the Justice Society of America. He only became Hawkman because he was an archaeologist who went to Egypt, who touched artifacts and discovered he was a reincarnation of an alien. First off, Qatar Hall, the first Hawkman. You know what I'm saying? I'm just confused on how, because he was reincarnated as a prince in one timeline, that means he needs to be black. Come on now. Another thing that you guys have to understand is that when you take a character and you race change them, there are consequences to those changes and to those characters. You can't take a character that's been predominantly white and then make them black and treat them like they were those white characters. That's not how that works. Because being white is completely different from being black or Hispanic or Asian or Latino. Like, you can't just treat us all the same. That's not how that works. Because there are certain rules and regulations that we have to follow by. So to sit up here and change these characters because you want to feel inclusive and see diversity and see yourself on the big screen, get over yourself. I'm just being honest. There are too many books and shows, movies, video games that show diverse characters. Instead of clapping and cheering for these tokenized version of these white characters, you should be telling the studios, hey, what about these original black characters? Or how about these original Chinese characters or Asian characters or Hispanic characters that don't get the screen time? How about that? No, we're not going to talk about that though. But we're okay with race changing characters all willy-nilly. The fact of the matter is, if you guys are going to try to get mad about Cleopatra, you need to get mad about Hawkman, Ariel, the entire cast of Internals, Tinkerbell, the entire half cast of The Flash for being race swapped from white to black. Like, come on, what are we doing? Then they want to put them on list though, greatest black superheroes. They're not even black in the comic books, you know? So what are we talking about? Why are we doing this? Like, who is this for? When you start making these changes, you start losing people who are invested in it. What is the purpose of changing things? Because people are too lazy to make things new? Because nobody challenged them? And don't try that whole multiverse thing, because I'm tired of the whole multiverse thing. There's a reason why the multiverses aren't main story continuity stuff. It's a reason why they're not mainly focused on, because they're multiverses. There's some what if stories or whatever. But usually when it's a multiverse, there's a huge change. And a huge change isn't race change. No. We're talking about complete changes involved when it comes to the world that they inhabit. Like the Ultimate Marvel. It completely changed differently from Earth 616. That's understandable. Or Earth 2. You have the Golden Age heroes that are there where they age in real time. That's a huge difference, because now you have all these characters who have kids, and their kids have kids, and then you have villains who have kids as well, and everybody grow in real time. That's a huge change. You don't see that in main continuity. So when you try to come up with some lame excuse about, oh, it's a multiverse or whatever, no, I'm sorry. I'm not buying it. I don't agree with that kind of nonsense. Who are you making this for? Because you couldn't be making it for the comic book fans. Because if that's the case, people be eating up your comic books. Oh, oops, guess what? They're not. That's why they're going to anime and manga. Why? Because when they adapt the manga to anime, they keep the characters mostly the same. They might put a little few tweaks or here, or add some bonus stuff to the characters, but that's about it. But when we do it in America, we got to completely bastardize them to try to please certain people. And then they wonder why some people don't come back. I mean, don't take my word for it. Just look at all of the pop culture. What happened to Star Wars, Star Trek? What happened to Doctor Who? You saw what Marvel and DC did when DC decided, hey, let's do the New 52. Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Disrespect your entire customer base of 50 years for some new readers who are too lazy to pick up a comic book and figure out how to read. I'm just saying. Or Marvel, all new, all different. Let's replace all of our classic heroes for diverse characters. Let's make some of them gay for no reason. Let's make them female a lot. Let's desexualize females, because females shouldn't look sexy at all. They need to look like men too. Or Last of Us Part 2. Hey, you see how that didn't work out for it. But continue with these changes. There's only going to be so much that people are going to take until they're done. I'm just saying. But yeah, like I said, characters shouldn't be race change, sexuality change, just because you want to please certain people or try to show how not racist you guys are, when in fact you're racist. You're being racist by changing these characters to try to accommodate some kind of weird fantasy of, oh, people were oppressed back in the day or whatever. It's history. You learn from it, you grow from it, but you can't just change it. That's not how any of this works, because when you keep changing things, people are not going to be invested in it. And that's just the real talk. But yeah, this is Trey. signing off. And if you want to, you can subscribe to my channel, and I'll try to post more videos or whatever. Peace out.